The movie begins with Nikki, a U.S. Army soldier stationed in the desert, calling her 3-year-old daughter Chloe to wish her a happy birthday. Every year, Nikki promises that she will be home for Chloe's next birthday, but her unwavering commitment to military service always prevents her from keeping that promise. As a result, she misses most of her daughter's childhood. Hoping to reconnect with Chloe, Nikki gives her a guitar as a gift for her 15th birthday. A year later, she returns home from the desert once again. Their phone conversations have grown increasingly awkward over the years, and the little girl who once longed for her mother's presence now treats her like a stranger. After Nikki's husband dies from blood cancer, she decides to leave the military for good and dedicate herself entirely to being a mother, hoping to repair their broken relationship. She organizes a sweet 16th birthday party for Chloe, decorating the house with balloons and preparing everything herself. However, before anyone even gets a chance to enjoy the cake, Chloe's friends leave, and Chloe says she would rather spend time with them than stay at home. Hurt by the remark, Nikki argues that she has sacrificed everything to be there now, while Chloe angrily reminds her that she was never around when she needed her most. Furious, Chloe storms into her room and slams the door. Later that night, Nikki goes to apologize, only to discover that Chloe has secretly sneaked out to attend a party. At the party, Chloe takes her first sip of alcohol while hanging out with her friends. They encourage her to get closer to a boy named Ben. When no one is paying attention, Ben secretly slips a drug into her drink. Using Chloe's phone to track her location, Nikki rushes to the scene just in time to find Ben and several other young men dragging her unconscious daughter toward a van. Nikki quickly overpowers one of them, but the others manage to throw Chloe into the vehicle and speed away. Determined to save her daughter, Nikki chases after the van, catches up to it, smashes one of the windows, and grabs onto the door. Suddenly, the driver swerves violently, throwing her onto the road. Refusing to give up, Nikki predicts where the vehicle is heading and leaps onto the moving van through an open window. She stabs the driver in the eye with the car key, causing him to lose control and crash the vehicle. The impact throws Nikki out once again, leaving her unconscious and badly injured in a nearby field. Meanwhile, Ben pushes the dying driver aside, grabs Chloe, and escapes before anyone can stop him. A narrator then explains that once a person has been abducted, there are only 72 hours left to find them alive. The story jumps 27 hours later. Nikki suddenly regains consciousness while hanging upside down. Looking at the clock, she realizes that only 44 hours remain to rescue Chloe. She soon finds herself captured by a ruthless killer named Victor, who prepares to torture her. Desperate to know whether her daughter is still alive, Nikki demands answers. Victor mockingly replies that he doesn't even know the names of slaughterhouse cattle, implying that Chloe's life means nothing to him. He reveals that Nikki made a terrible mistake by destroying one of Mr. Sullivan's highly profitable human trafficking operations and freeing the women who were being held there. Even with a knife buried in her body, Nikki warns Victor to let her go while he still has the chance. Victor simply laughs before stabbing her in the stomach and then in the thigh. Moments later, he receives a phone call from Sullivan, the leader of the criminal organization. While Victor is distracted by the conversation, Nikki pulls the knife from her leg and cuts herself free from her restraints. She launches a brutal counterattack, overpowering Victor with her military training. Then, determined to save her daughter at any cost, refusing to reveal anything at first, Victor stays silent, so Nikki cuts off one of his ears and warns him that his death will be far more painful if he continues to resist. Finally, he breaks and admits that Sullivan is only the man who manages the operation, while the true leader is someone known only as the chairman. Just then, several vehicles arrive outside the house. Nikki quickly hides before Sullivan and his armed guards step out of their cars. When Sullivan enters the building, he discovers Victor's body hanging from the ceiling. Attached to it are photos of Nikki and Chloe, along with a message that reads, "I want my daughter back." Knowing that the chairman never tolerates failure, Sullivan immediately covers up the disaster instead of reporting the truth. He orders every man under his command to hunt Nikki down and kill her on sight. Nikki secretly follows Sullivan's convoy to his heavily guarded villa. The estate is protected by military-grade security, surveillance cameras, attack dogs, and drones. She quickly realizes that launching a direct assault would be nothing short of suicide. Since the stab wound in her stomach is getting worse, Nikki decides she must treat herself first. Meanwhile, Police Captain Michaels reviews CCTV footage recovered from the burned trafficking house. The footage shows a masked person killing 5 men, freeing the captive women, and setting the building on fire. It is obvious that the attacker has elite military combat training. Inside a hotel room, Nikki painfully stitches her own wounds without assistance. Knowing that every minute counts if she wants to save Chloe, she forces herself to stay awake using energy drinks and painkillers. With only 32 hours remaining, Captain Michaels obtains security footage showing Nikki dragging Ben out of a bar and crushing his hand. Investigators also trace the car key that had been lodged in the driver's eye back to her. They are shocked to discover that the mysterious killer they have been chasing is actually a woman. Nikki purchases the equipment she needs for the next stage of her mission. That same night, the chairman calls Sullivan in a furious rage, blaming him for losing a fortune after the destruction of the trafficking facility. He warns Sullivan that if everything is not fixed before the next shipment of girls arrives, someone else will take his place. Nikki patiently waits until Sullivan's security convoy leaves the villa. She then crashes her vehicle directly into the lead guard car. Her modified safety harness absorbs most of the impact. While the guards scramble in confusion, she slides underneath the vehicles on a skateboard, eliminating them one by one until only Sullivan remains. After brutally beating him, she points a gun at his head and demands to know where Chloe is. Sullivan insists he knows nothing, so Nikki shoots him in both legs. Screaming in pain, he begs for mercy and promises to take her to the chairman, who is staying at the Grand Hotel. Nikki coldly replies that she doesn't need his help anymore. A short time later, she finds Chloe alive inside the trunk of one of the vehicles. Overwhelmed with relief, she carries her daughter onto a public bus and heads home. During the ride, exhaustion finally catches up with her, and she briefly falls asleep. She dreams about her military days and remembers the heartbreaking final days she spent beside her husband in the hospital. When they arrive home, Chloe is still heavily drugged and barely able to respond. Nikki gently tells her that she is finally safe and that everything will be alright. But when she notices needle marks covering Chloe's arms, she completely breaks down in tears. At the same time, Captain Michaels prepares a heavily armed SWAT assault on Nikki's house. One detective argues that an innocent civilian is inside, but Michaels ignores the warning, reminding everyone that Nikki has killed 13 people in less than 48 hours. The detective points out that every one of those victims was involved in human trafficking, but Michaels refuses to listen. Just moments before the team breaches their house, Colonel Joseph arrives with authorization from military headquarters and orders Michaels to stand down immediately. After the police leave, Nikki steps outside to buy medical supplies. Unknown to her, Michaels secretly orders his tactical team to switch off their body cameras and kill her without leaving any evidence. However, Nikki notices their reflections in a nearby car window and realizes she is being followed. She lures them into a narrow alley before suddenly appearing behind them. Colonel Joseph then explains that Nikki was once under his command in the Special Forces and was one of the deadliest soldiers ever to complete the program. When the officers finally switch their body cameras back on, every member of the tactical team is already lying unconscious on the ground. Calmly, Nikki radios for 6 ambulances to come and treat them. Over the radio, Michaels desperately begs her to stop. Nikki refuses, explaining everything those traffickers did to her daughter. She swears she will not stop until every single person responsible is dead. When she returns home, she is horrified to find Chloe gone once again. Mistaking a young detective for another kidnapper, Nikki disarms him before realizing her mistake. She knocks him unconscious anyway and storms out after learning that Chloe has supposedly been taken again. While driving, Michaels argues with Colonel Joseph, insisting that Nikki must answer for all the killings she has committed. Joseph reminds him that she is a decorated war hero who has only eliminated human traffickers. The search of Nikki's house turns up nothing. Furious, Michaels issues a citywide order authorizing officers to shoot Nikki on sight. Nikki finally arrives at the Grand Hotel, the headquarters of the trafficking organization. The kidnapped children are being held on the lower floors, while the chairman lives in a luxurious penthouse at the top of the building. Knowing the hotel is practically an impenetrable fortress, she parks beside the electrical control box and releases gasoline around it. She sets up a delayed fire before pretending to be an injured woman who survived a car accident, allowing her to enter through the back entrance. As she moves deeper into the building, she quietly distracts and eliminates the guards in her path. After freeing the imprisoned women, she opens every gas valve inside the restaurant. Outside, her abandoned vehicle explodes, cutting power to the entire hotel and plunging it into darkness. The guards rush into the gas-filled restaurant, only for Nikki to ignite the fumes, killing them instantly in a massive explosion. Using knives and the darkness to her advantage, Nikki silently eliminates even more guards throughout the building while guiding rescued women and children toward the exits. Armed with 2 pistols, she opens fire on traffickers waiting along the staircase. After running out of ammunition, she is forced into brutal hand-to-hand combat against 2 men armed with an axe and a steel cable. She nearly loses the fight, but bites one attacker's ear off to break free before using his own cable to strangle him to death. Exhausted and badly wounded, Nikki collapses. Chloe appears before her, telling her that she can stop now. But Nikki promises that she will take her daughter home no matter what. Only 2 enemies remain, the chairman and his loyal bodyguard, Coretter. Coretter stays behind to buy time for his boss, but Nikki blasts through the door and kills him. Inside the luxurious penthouse, Nikki pauses long enough to free several more imprisoned children. That brief delay gives the chairman enough time to grab Chloe and hold a gun to her head. As the 72-hour countdown reaches 0, Nikki takes the shot and kills the chairman. She immediately rushes Chloe to the hospital, informing the doctors that her daughter has been injected with large amounts of drugs and has suffered severe trauma. After everything she has endured, there is finally nothing left for Nikki to do except wait. Several hours later, the doctors announce that Chloe's condition is finally stable. Believing that the longest 72 hours of her life are finally over, Nikki allows herself to fall asleep for the first time. Then the film delivers its shocking final twist. Detective Lovell secretly meets with investigators, who ask why the traffickers did not simply return Chloe after losing 12 of their men. Lovell reveals the horrifying truth. Nikki had actually found her daughter days earlier, but Chloe was already dead. Unable to accept the loss, Nikki suffered a complete psychological breakdown and was hospitalized under heavy medication. The events that followed existed only inside her fractured mind. When Lovell last visited her, Nikki's physical injuries had healed, but her mind remained trapped in unbearable grief. She had completely forgotten that Chloe had died and constantly insisted that she still needed to rescue her. According to the doctors, every time Nikki regains consciousness, her mind resets to the night Chloe was kidnapped, erasing everything that happened afterward. The girl Nikki rescued from Sullivan's car trunk was never Chloe at all. Because of her trauma, she unconsciously imagined every rescued girl as her own daughter. Even now, Chloe is nowhere beside her hospital bed. Yet Nikki's overwhelming love and grief continue to convince her that her daughter is still alive somewhere, waiting to be saved. Her endless sorrow has transformed her into an unstoppable weapon, forever chasing a rescue that can never succeed. The movie ends with Nikki suddenly waking up and desperately insisting that she has to find Chloe. The 72-hour countdown begins once again, trapping her inside the same endless cycle, forever hunting the kidnappers she believes still have her daughter. And that's where the movie ends.